Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to share to you it's a kind of recipe. When we cook something about disaster risk reduction, climate change adaptation, there are lots of strategies, there are lots of ways. But this afternoon, I'm going to share to you, I'm Balz Tribunalo. I'm the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Department Head of Cebu Province. And I'm very thankful this afternoon because our delegates coming from the Philippines are with us this afternoon. Thank you so much. This is a story about the effort. It's a global network for disaster risk reduction, or GNDR, where we discuss lots of strategies on how to ensure new urban DRR, disaster risk reduction, the Paris Agreement, Sindai DRR framework into a local setting. So this afternoon, we are going to share to you a case story in Hagubiao, Mandawi City in Cebu, Philippines, where the local actors themselves coming from the community shared and owned the process, especially in terms of doing risk assessment, developing a plan, and ensure the national initiatives, global documents, policies are being put into a certain area called the Hagubiao experience. So when you talk about coherence, it's not just about cooperation, it's not just about collaboration, but it is something that people themselves know what is going on at the national level. So what we did is all this international policy, we translated into our own local language, the Bisaya way, so that even the ordinary people can understand what they're doing. So here, we have a study conducted by GNDR. Thank you so much, GNDR. And of course, this is supported by GIDRM. It is a study on coherence. Then there was a desk research produced into a kind of discussion paper. Then there was a collection of case studies from around the world. And we're very happy that this case story in the Philippines is being included. So later we'll be sharing to you the cookbook, the green book, and then, yeah, it will be given to you. There is a collation of research findings, the development of the cookbook, and then what are the roles of the CSOs in terms of coherence. And then we did the KII, the focus group discussion in the Philippines and Mexico. And this time, we'll share this to you how we did this one. No? There are lots of challenges to enable vertical and horizontal coherence in the country. How to build separate sustainable development, implementation processes which put communities at the forefront of action. This is very challenging. How to localize our efforts. So the first one is developing countries are absorbing an estimated 80% of the human economic cost of climate change, but have the least resource to anticipate and adapt. That is one of the challenges. Second, global climate and development goals are defined and advanced separately. Siloed approaches and sectoral planning is underpinning strategies to tackle interlinked challenges of climate change. There are ecosystem degradation, and that's very challenging, and inequality rise, and political instability, and erosion of hard-won development gains. So, another one is the structural horizontal and vertical planning that limits vulnerability communities receiving finance at the volume of pace needed to adapt effectively. And lastly, I'm working with the government. So this is the last challenge that we have experienced. Government need to make a significant shift in terms of institutional policy, financial and monitoring frameworks in order to join up implementation and enhance policy coherence and cost efficiency. In the Philippines, you have Republic Act 10121, which ensure the communities are truly engaged, not just at the national or regional level, but at the barangay level, we are doing something. So that is the thing, no? And also, there are opportunities out of these challenges, no? The vertical and horizontal coherence, no? And first, we need to ensure alignment and synergies of the Sustainable Development Goals. The INDC's targets, the Regional Development Frameworks, then mainstreaming climate and development agendas into policy planning. Establishing mutual reinforcing monitoring and reporting frameworks, then optimizing strategy and financial resources to mobilize and track SDG-related and climate finance. Then this is the case. Ensure local actors are the drivers of change. That's why we have the Purok system, where people themselves are the main actors. So the partners of resilience, with the Philippine Red Cross, we have CARE, we have the Wetlands, Code Aid, which is now based in Cebu. They work side by side with the Philippine government, especially the Cebu provincial government. This is a global alliance of Netherlands based on the national and local actors throughout the world. We promote IRM, or integrated risk management, as a key approach to resilience building. This is a systematic integration of disaster reduction, climate change adaptation, ecosystem management, and of course, restoration. This is founded on the analysis that risks are evolving, causing increased disaster frequency, magnitude as climate change exacerbates hazards, and as do elevated ecosystem degradation. So this is Hagobyao. If you want to do research, Hagobyao is a place where in early 60s, 50s, this was the place where there is a leprosarium, no? This is located in highly urbanized Mandawi City, Cebu, Philippines, situated in the lower portion of the city's water catchment. The community, many of whom are descendants of the former leprosy sanitarium in the village, where an isolated and marginalized community has grown in the past 30 years as rural economic migrants settled. Hagobyao faces pressures from rapid population growth, poverty, and planned development and environmental planning, water resource contamination, poor sanitation, inadequate livelihood opportunities and economic alternatives, poor drainage facilities, and system causing flooding, exposure to climate disaster, and environmental and health risks. So we tried to discuss about the solution. And there are a few solutions that we have found with the community. The first one is integrated risk assessment, where we engage community and other stakeholders to develop a complete picture of all factors affecting the community and now and in the future. So we'll share to you how this, yeah, please.
Regular flooding in these cities undermines infrastructure, disrupts economic activity, and impedes the delivery of basic services.
Yeah, so, and we also want to hear the testimony from the barangay captain, how this local effort, no?
The Philippines is extremely vulnerable to climate. The Philippines is
Himumiog participatory disaster risk assessment. So mo to nga nag-hazard mapping mi, no? Hazard mapping mi sa kada sitios. Hazard mapping sa kalamidad sama sa typhoon, sa pagbaha, sa linog o sa sunog.
The second solution is the analysis profile that is locally owned to understand hazards, capacity, vulnerability, and risk under climate change projections. And then at the same time, to protect and enhance development through poverty reduction, minimizing risk to people, basic services, and livelihoods as the central focus.
Based on the assessment that we did, one of the crucial problem that we see is the open defecation in the major areas in Hagobiao. There are also problem in waste disposal that cause flooding. And also we found out in the springs and wells that we have the water contamination. From these four critical problems that we see in Hagobiao, we need to have an integrated approach to deal with this problem. First is with the open defecation problem, we need to have the communal septic tank, especially to the vulnerable families who are living in the flooded areas. And also with the waste disposal, we have a strategy on waste banking, vermicomposting, and eco-blocks, and other livelihood initiatives that link with the waste disposal. With the flooding issue, we try to have a drainage management at the local level, at the same time with the landscape level approach in terms of drainage management. For the water contamination, since most of the vulnerable families are living in Hagobiao uses the deep well, and we all know that it's already contaminated. One of the strategies that the project did is the water electrolysis. It means electrolyzing this water and make into a higher pH level, and it can be used for the domestic use and drinking water.
Another one, to ensure the key actors working together through multi-stakeholder platforms for cooperation and ensure local ownership, like planning, implementation, and learning for risk implementation. And at the same time, coordinate resources, capacities, and establish a clear strategy for action that is shared. Like, for example, when we have this kind of learning, then the provincial government, the city government also contributed part of the DRM fund so that this Hagobiao can be supported in terms of 2 or 3 year project. So,
we are really grateful that the barangay is now active with the involvement of this program. Not just the barangay, but also the private sectors and also the church. They are also involved, and we can see that we are helping each other. Like, we are already concerned with the cleanliness of the environment, like the dredging of the canal. Certainly, it will solve the flood problem of the other areas. We are really grateful that the barangay is now active.
From what I've heard, Hagobiao is very
now this is the Mandawi City Development Council, where we engage also other players. And this is the roundtable discussion with the resilience team. And this is a kind of participatory process, not just people in Hagobiao, but also some department heads in the city and some representatives from the province.
From what I've heard, Hagobiao is very...
And then the last solution is community and multi-stakeholder actions grounded in local objective setting and strategies to deliver divided through improved sanitation, economic opportunity, waste management to a climate and disaster framework. So it is coming from the people themselves. The solutions are coming from them. So this is his testimony, how we work together.
Katabang ma'am, gawa sa mga membro, labi na itong mga silingan na mga gawa sa kitaoy income. Sama na mga plastic bottle nga mong mapalit. Trabahoon sana sa mga silingan na mo nga wasay income, labi na ng mga medyo senior citizen na magpanit lang sa mineral, paliton sana mo 3 pesos kada kilo. Ginansya na kay na sila pod nya usapod naka-income sila. Nya sa amo sang mga membro sad, ang silbi ang ila sang ipanitan ug amo na sang ma-dispose nga to sa dako na nga kanang silbi timbangan, nakaginansya gud mi nagyapon mi mabahin gyapon.
Yeah. So transformation from waste to income. This one are the farmers in the urban area.
Sustain the project, to sustain this livelihood that we have started. We try to bring it to to the local government. Kung baga yung sa barangay unit namin, yung barangay namin, pinapasok namin doon yung plano namin sa urban resiliency, pinapasok namin doon sa plano ng barangay para ma-sustain siya because it's the only way na to sustain.
So it's the solution that people themselves identified. So they engage, no, we engage higher level, like even people from the regional level, people from the national government, the churches, no, different religion, and all the people who want to ensure that they can contribute something to the community. They're helping each other, and we want to replicate this kind of effort. So we thank you so much for listening, and we'd like to invite you to, Rouf, please.
Thank you. We're actually running short of time. So the great case that Bal just presented, we from GNDR actually collected similar cases around the world. So we have produced this cookbook that actually is kind of presenting the different ingredients that CSOs might need to be mindful about when they want to do works in an integrated way in the coherence. So we invite you all. So it's basically we are launching this book this stage, so please feel free. We have that in English and also in French and Spanish, so whatever you want. And we will be available around, so we have our booth 24, so if you feel interested, please do visit us there. Thank you very much.